And I should say that this hearing is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, and will be broadcast over public access network. This is a 5-member board. The other petitioner, right?
Yeah.
And this is a 5-member board, which means that in order for a special permit to be granted, you need 4 votes out of the 5 members. Now, I received final notification this afternoon that there's only going to be 4 members present tonight. Others were not able to attend for various reasons. That means that if we continue forward with this hearing, that you would require a unanimous vote in order to grant that special permit. Whereas if we have 5 sitting members, you would need 4 out of the 5 votes. It's called a supermajority. So I think out of fairness, I will offer you the choice of whether or not to proceed with this hearing, recognizing that you need a unanimous vote in order to be granted your special permit, or continue this hearing to our next scheduled hearing date, which is the second Wednesday of July, or July the 8th in this case.
Okay.
I had called you today to forewarn you that I would be offering you that choice, so now is the time to make that choice.
Okay. So let me just get this.
You have to get up in front of the mic.
Yeah.
We're on TV.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're saying is that basically I wait till the next meeting in order to get the unanimous vote for the special permit.
No, I didn't make myself clear. This is a 5-member board,
Yep.
so there are 5 votes.
Got it.
In order to grant a special permit, you need a minimum of 4 votes in favor of granting that permit.
Okay.
Because there are only 4 members present tonight, we have the option to continue with the hearing, but when it comes time for a vote, you would still require the 4 votes, which means it has to be a unanimous decision.
Got it.
Whereas if there are 5 members, then only 4 out of the 5 need to vote to support it. So that's your choice.
In this case, I'd like to continue since the
Okay.
4 members are here, and I am eager to start, and I've been waiting, so I would like to continue
Okay,
hearing. Yeah.
that's fine. We shall proceed then.
Okay.
So to give you an idea of how the meeting will go, our administrative assistant is on vacation, so Al's graciously agreed to take the notes, and we will start off with his reading the application, and you will then have the opportunity to come up to the podium and speak to the application, add whatever comments you wish, and to provide us with any additional documentation that you would like.
Okay.
Following that, I see no members of the public here, but that's usually the time when we would have the opportunity for public comment. If there's anybody that shows up, we'll certainly allow that. And then we'll bring it to the members for deliberation, and we would ask you up to address any questions that members might have regarding your application.
Got it.
So if you would, please, Al.
You could sit if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this is an application for a special permit, Chapter 48, Section 9, Zoning Board of Appeals. Name and address of each applicant or petitioner is Adnan Inuit, 24 Mary Ave, Leominster, Mass. 01453. The undersigned hereby appeals as follows: seeking a special permit to display 8 motor vehicles for sale, doing business as Premium Motors. Has the proposed action or use begun? No. The basis for this application for special permit is found in the following section of the Lunenburg zoning bylaw, 4.6.3.1J. Street, address, or other sufficient description to adequately identify the land or building which is the subject of this case is 10 Mass Ave, Lunenburg, Mass. Assessors map and parcel 76-28. Name and address of each holder of legal title to the land which is the subject of this case, listed as it appears in the deed, is Lance Roselle, 15 Burnett Street, Fitchburg, Mass. 01420. Deed recorded, Worcester Northern District Registry of Deeds, Book 7005, page 354. Date recorded, 8/7/09. If the undersigned has any knowledge of a prior appeal, application, or petition concerning the land or building involved in this case, describe the case and the dates involved. 1, 2004, Pleasant Auto Sales, 20 cars, approved. On 5/2014, Francis Dorr, Fun Stuff Rentals, and it was approved. And this was signed on the 24th day of May. And I will read there are special permit questions which you have responded to, so I will read the question and the response. A, will not be injurious or dangerous to the public health or unduly hazardous because of traffic congestion, danger of fire, explosion, or other reasons. The answer, the business will not pose any kind of danger or injury to the public. Day-to-day operations will in no way cause any risk or harm to the public and its surroundings. Question B, will not have a material adverse effect on the value of land and buildings in the neighborhood or the amenities of the neighborhood. The answer, no activity will be carried out that will or can endanger or have a negative effect on the neighborhood and its amenities nor the abutters. C, will be operated with reasonable regard for order and sightliness if in open use. The establishment will be operated in a very professional manner and will be mindful of order and its surroundings. And question D, will not produce noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odor, heat, or glare observable at lot lines in amounts clearly detrimental to the normal use of adjacent property. And the answer is, we will not produce noise, smoke, vibration, dust, odor, heat, or glare, keeping the surrounding neighborhood and businesses in consideration and not affecting them. There is also a letter from Lance T. Roselle, 15 Burnett Street, Fitchburg, Mass., date 5/14/15, and it references 6 Mass Ave, Lunenburg, Mass. This letter is to state that I authorize a non-Inuit to approach the Zoning Board of Appeals to apply for a special permit in order to sell cars at the property located at the exact address of 6 Mass Ave. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and here's his phone number, and it is signed Lance Roselle. There is a list of abutters. There is an assessor's map. There is a proposed vehicle sketch and a tape survey attached.
Thank you, Al.
You're welcome.
And also attached was the letter from building commissioner that just advising you that it had to come before this board. I should also add that should this board grant this special permit, that you would also need to go to the planning board for a development plan review. And I think that Lisa had notified you of that as well, had she not?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Seeing that there's not very many people in attendance, we'll bring it to the board so that they have the opportunity to ask questions of your application, so if you come back, yeah.
I have questions when you
Go ahead.
to me.
Yes.
When I look at the application, it appears to be out of order and may require that we come back and relook at it, if what I'm saying, and then I can be corrected by the chair or other members. But the address of the application where you want this is number 10. The person that apparently owns the property says that he's going to let you do it on number 6, because he goes on and he says, re 6 Mass Avenue, and then it goes on, selling cars at the property located at the exact address of 6 Mass Avenue. You're asking for 10. Then the next question that comes to my mind, and the chair may checkmate my thought process because of the history, but in Lunenburg, in most towns, you can have a single business on a single lot. And what happens a lot is someone wants to add to his business and make it accessory to the business that's there. If 6 is the question, the whole application's out of order. But if 10 is the one, I would raise the issue that the accessory business, the business that's there is selling Toys R Us or whatever, is selling toys or fun games, funds and stuff, I think the sign.
Fun stuff rental, yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be related to the issue of selling cars. Then if I look at the layout, and it isn't a heavy detail layout, one of the conditions to sell cars is that it has to have a 20-foot setback from the road. Now, there was a permits granted on Pleasant Street side and did meet the setback requirements and was granted. So there have been several grants, but I've just laid out a few, and I'll go back and the members can discuss it and checkmate me where necessary.
Well, I think we can clarify a couple of things by asking the applicants.
Yeah.
I think we can clarify a few things by asking the
Yeah, oh, well,
applicant.
yeah.
Yeah.
Said my
First
piece.
of all, the building you're looking at, the site that you're looking at, the fun stuff is a separate building.
Exactly.
You're closer to, if I was looking at the building, you're talking about the left-hand side of the building.
Exactly.
There's the used furniture.
Exactly.
If I describe the building, I think I would say it has like 3 sections.
You got it, exactly.
The furniture, it looks like, a middle section and then that end section.
Exactly.
Are you talking about the end section and the middle section?
I'll be in the middle section,
The middle section.
and the way it is, because when we were putting up the application and discussed it with Lisa as well, she says, since the whole parcel of land is, the address is 10 Mass Ave, so we will take it as 10 Mass Ave because that's what we have on paper. Further on, he's actually divided the building on the left, because the corner is the fun stuff rental, which they occupy completely. The one building where you have the used furniture is divided into 3 sections. So I'm going to take the one in the middle. Now, the one in the corner is not being used for sale, it's just used as storage. So it's just lying there and just used as storage.
Who's using it for storage?
Fun stuff rental.
Fun stuff. So they actually rent that section?
Yeah, and they access it from the back, so it's like completely shut out from the
Okay, I did
front.
see there was an access road on the...
Exactly.
Actually on
And
both
they-
sides, but it
yes.
looked like, okay.
Yeah.
So that building is actually 10.
10, the parcel whole is...
Entire building.
Exactly.
But then each one is sectioned into
Yeah.
a different...
And he's done it like on his own, but basically the whole plot of land is on 10 Mass Ave, so it technically is 10 Mass Ave, yeah.
This might help clarify it. I pulled this based on the information that you'd supplied in the application. I pulled the parcel or the property record card. And so it's indicated as 10 Mass Ave there. I also pulled off and here's a copy that you and Jim
Thank
can
you.
look at. But that shows, if you hold it this way, this Pleasant Street, let's see,
Pleasant Street's
Pleasant
over here.
Street is here.
It's Pleasant Street.
And so this is the long building that he's talking about where has the middle unit. That's the fun stuff.
This is where we rented the cars.
That was on that
Correct.
corner over
But
there.
that's,
Pleasant.
And this is the building.
that's
he's
not
talking
what he's talking
Now
about.
he wants to put it on Mass Avenue. Correct?
Correct.
This whole lot,
He wants
that
to
whole
just
property is 10 Mass Ave.
And does he have the setback for,
That's a question that we have.
Yeah.
Go ahead now.
Okay.
what does this do? Can you clarify this?
Okay, that second sheet that I gave you is a zoning map. And you'll see that I've circled that the residential A is over here, way away from this. This is the lot we're talking about right
Okay,
here.
got it.
And this whole area is commercial.
Okay, so that just to
Yeah.
put it in context.
Right.
Okay.
So I thought that's a helpful reference, you know. And,
Okay.
So go ahead, Al.
Okay.
Can you deal with the 610 thing? Do you have any comments?
On the what?
Yes.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, but give Al, he's having, go ahead, Al.
Okay. Talking about the setbacks, if I were to look at that from the road, first of all, this certainly isn't the scale.
Say again?
This that you provided certainly isn't the scale.
Oh,
So, because you're calling for setbacks of 24 feet, that you're saying is from Mass Ave, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yes, yes.
You're
it is.
saying that you're going to be 24 feet back
Yeah, exactly.
and 18 feet back.
Because it curves on the side, I'm right at the corner, so it curves on the side, so on one end it's about 24 and the other end is about...
Right, I understand it's angled.
Then I plan to put maybe some cars by the fence, so that would give it particular setback from the Mass Ave, more than 20 feet, like on the side.
It would be more than 20 feet from Mass Ave, I agree, but there is a road that goes to that side of the building, to go to the back of that building. And you just told me that Fun Stuff uses that for storage and uses the back.
If I
It
could...
doesn't appear that there's enough room there to put 3 cars on that fenced area and still have adequate room to get by to get to the back of that building.
According to Lance and what he's told me, they use the other entrance, like between here's Fun Stuff, here's the building, they use this entrance. They never use this entrance. So he was saying that I can have access to it solely to use it according to my needs. He said nobody else uses it. He said it's been changed, he said, once...
Well,
everything-
I understand that, but there could also, just as a thought, there could be issues where, you know, if there was an emergency or a fire truck or an emergency vehicle that had to get to that side of the building, and you had cars parked there, it might be difficult for them to get into that. So that's my only concern in that section that you just said you were gonna put cars in.
Yeah, the way I propose to put cars, they'll be like right by the fence, so I actually parked cars there to actually see how it is, and that leaves a good 20 feet gap still in the back where they can just pass through if need be, although it hasn't been used in years.
Is the fence Pleasant Street? When you speak of a fence, are you speaking of the Pleasant Street side?
No.
No.
No,
It's
No.
the one on Mass Ave.
Okay, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, you know,
Don, look at this.
it's over here.
yeah, I don't see any fence.
No, it doesn't show here,
That's
but
Pleasant.
that's Fun Stuff right there. So that's
Right.
Pleasant Street.
Okay, I
And that's where the fence is that you're talking about.
Right in there, right
That
in this
corner,
area here.
right.
Okay, but he's
The
gonna
one
put
he's
the cars
talking,
down here.
Al's looking at this over here.
I'm
where
looking
this
over
building
here,
is.
correct.
Okay,
And just to add, like, right between the corner building that we are talking about and then Fun Stuff, you see that big gap in the middle, that's the main area. It's like maybe about 100, 150 feet wide. There's no gates.
And
That's
that,
where we
yeah,
use-
I did see that area.
Yeah, so, because this hasn't been used, and so he proposed that, you know, we can even use it, you can use it according to your needs, however you want it. And so I said, all right.
Okay, so they're going to allow you to put, or the landlord is going to allow you to put cars in front of the section that is currently being leased by Fun Stuff,
Exactly.
and also in front of the middle section.
Yes, because that would be, yes, exactly. Correct.
And if I look at that parking lot, and I didn't get out and measure it, I'm going to guess that that entire depth of that parking lot was maybe 50 to 60 feet,
Correct, yeah, yeah.
and you need to be 20 feet back, at least. And then I think if you had a normal parking space, it would be about 10 by 16, so another 16, that would be 36 feet. And I'm just wondering, where would your customers or people coming in there?
In my case, it's morely, just to give you some of my background, I would like to say, I moved here from Atlanta, Georgia. I had a car lot over there for about 8 years, so I had a pretty good experience there. My family's here, they've been in the Leominster area, and so that's why I moved here. And mainly what I am be focusing on is online marketing, and most of my customers coming in will be like by appointment only. And that's why I'll have a select number of cars. That's why I asked for a select number of cars. So it's not going to be like in and out traffic. It's going to be purely by appointment. And the people next door, they use furniture. Because I've been there a couple of times, even spoke with them. So their parking lots are empty. And me and Lance, we both asked them that if need be, 1 or 2 cars, maybe once or twice a week, can be parked here, and they were okay. So what I proposed was to avoid any kind of confusion or any blockage, that once they come in, they can park the cars there, see the cars, and then it would be somewhere where it won't be obstructing anyone, let me put it like that, because the flow of traffic or the flow of people coming in will be very limited. I mean, I would like to have 10 people coming in every day, but the fact of the matter is only going to be by appointment only. There's a certain kind of vehicles that I'll be keeping that I've experienced in over the past 10 years. And then the people coming in will be by appointment only, and they will come in, I will know they're coming. So they'll have already a set spot where they won't be objecting or blocking anyone. So
Okay, are these specialty used cars?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so they're,
they're going to be like mid-tier, but I normally deal with imports and Japanese cars. And then over the years, I've built up a pretty strong clientele where, even since I moved from Atlanta, there's still people who want me to buy cars for them. So a lot of times I'll be buying cars for them, and they might not even come to the lot, and because they know me, and then I can just ship the cars to them on trailers and stuff. So
okay.
I just keeping that in view, I just feel that's a good opportunity. I just need to have a place of business where I can also display cars and sell some quality cars. Yeah.
I have one other question, then I want to turn it over to some other members, because they have other questions, but I want them to have a chance. Did you, and you may not know this, was there another gentleman in that same building several years ago that did the same thing? Do you know that?
As far as what I've discussed with Lance, no. He did mention that there was a car lot at the corner of Fun Stuff.
Yeah, on Pleasant Street, correct.
But on this corner building, the one that stands alone, there wasn't anyone who was.
As far as you know? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Just to add on to that point, Al, because that was one of the comments one of the things I wanted to address too, because you referenced the permit in the application, but I think that permit was to grant the used car lot over by Fun
that other
Stuff.
one. Okay.
My recollection.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because he referenced that. But
Yeah.
it seems like I recall that there was somebody else
Yeah.
that did a business, and he was very similar. He was saying most of his business was computer, and that he kept very few cars on the lot. And that's why I was asking that question.
Okay.
I thought it was a computer repair place, no?
No?
What Lance told me, that there was a guy who was selling kitchen appliances and pretty much kitchen appliances, stoves and ovens and
Yeah.
refrigerators, that kind of stuff from
Okay.
that location.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Okay, no, that's why I had a question about the other lot at the corner by Pleasant Street, and where this is obviously not associated with that. The other lot.
Well, it is associated with it
Well,
because
it
it's
is
all
for
one
the
lot.
building,
Yeah.
yes. But the other permit is null and void now because it's.
Oh, yeah.
So this is completely starting over. There would be absolutely no repairs, everything would be just for display of cars only, and only a temporary. And what about a loading, unloading, or having cars delivered How is that handled?
In most cases, I remember how I would, when I was in Atlanta, I would buy all my cars from Florida. They were better option, better prices, and they would put them on trailers. And what they would do is right across from me, there was a big furniture place, like a rooms to go kind of and they had a huge parking lot. And the tractor trailer would park over there, and they normally come in after hours. And because they want to avoid the traffic, so the way they schedule their route is after hours. So he would very comfortably go in that parking lot, unload the cars, and bring them one by one in my lot. And I plan to do the same thing right across the street. There's a huge parking lot for Reliant Medical Group. I think, or it's I'm new here, so it's a medical building, and they have
Right.
a huge parking lot. So if necessary, and again, since it's 8 cars over there, I had about 25, 30 car lot. So since over here cars going to be minimal, so it's not even going to be a huge tractor trailer. It's one of those smaller ones that haul 2 to 3 cars at a time. But I would advise him to do the same thing, to go across the street in that parking lot, because he comes in after hours, so it's mostly empty. And then he's just going to unload them and bring them one by one over here.
Have you approached these people to ask for permission?
I haven't, but I will. I mean, like I said, it's going to be most of the time. Right now over here, I'm buying cars from the local, like Framingham and New Jersey. I've been to New York because I'm very familiar with that auction. It's a huge auction. So most of the time, the cars I will be driving back with me, because they have a transport service where you can pay them and they can drive the car back for you. That actually comes cheaper rather than hauling it on a tractor trailer. So I honestly don't see that as being an issue. And even if it comes to that, I'll definitely go ahead and ask them up front if they are okay with it. But in any case, most of the time they come in after hours because the tractor trailers are huge. They like to avoid traffic times, so they schedule it where it's like going to be like after business hours. So it's going to be empty, and so it should not be a problem. And also I would like to add, right at that corner, I would clean up the place. You see there's a pole over there as well, right at that corner. I'll just do some landscaping, clean up the place, and just make it look nice. That would just add up to the city, and there'll be an additional business. Already I'm in contract with a mechanic. I don't know the exact name. You know that if you're going on John Fitch Highway, there is Honeyland convenience store. He's right behind it. So I was referred to him by my brother-in-law, who's been in Leominster for about 10 years, so he knows him. So he'll be working on all my cars. And then
So there are going to be, any repairs would be done off-site at another
once it's
location?
all done, right next to it is a detail place. So it's going to be cleaned up and just brought here and parked. So that is the whole idea. And then I have a website, which I'm just holding off until everything goes through it's already ready. So in my previous experience, I've used the internet it's been very beneficial in the sense I've used it effectively, where most of my calls come through the internet. So that's where I'll be advertising the most. But I would also like to, retail cars, that if a passerby is going by, he sees a nice car, I'll be in. And even when I was in Georgia in about 8 years, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I had about a 4.8 star rating out of 5, which I think is really good because of the used car business. Because these are not brand new cars. But I was very meticulous in what I bought. I was very detail oriented to make sure my mechanic went through each and everything. So when they were happy, they would leave good reviews. A lot of times I just sold cars because people read a review and they wanted to come and do business with me. So I'm sure I'll put that experience to good use area.
Jim? Jim has the floor.
I think the question was hours, but
Is what?
hours of operation. What would you propose setting up for hours? Because anything that we established would have to have a set schedule of hours. What about, weekends, Saturdays, very, very specific? As far as when you'd be open, when you would allow people to, actually, they can come when you're not there to look at something on the outside, but what hours would you be open for them?
I would follow pretty much the same hours that I was there. I would be open from 9 to 6, 5 days a week. And then on Saturdays, it'll be 9 to 6 as well, and Sundays is by appointment only. Because in the car business, Saturday is a good business day. I mean, you sell cars on Saturdays. And Sundays will be by appointment only. That's what I tend to display on the door as well.
So
That, if that is, that is the, I'm visualizing that would be a condition if we
Right.
choose. Yeah.
Okay, what about lighting on this? What are you going to use for lighting?
I've passed by there at nighttime. The lampposts, the city lampposts, they are
Yeah,
pretty.
I have.
They're pretty good. But if need be, I can put maybe 2 spotlights on the building, on my side of the building, facing the road, so that would just kind of like light up.
You can't have anything that's going to face into the road, you know what
Okay.
I mean? So
Got it.
that's why I'm asking about the lighting.
Because again, I'm referencing Georgia because this is what I'm used to. I'm pretty new here. Over there, they had the city's power supply company. They had an option where you could just pay them, and they would put a post on the light on the wooden post, and they would charge you monthly for it, and it would turn on with a sensor when it's dark and stay on. Then, so I'm going to check into that as well. But with the lighting, I saw it was pretty sufficient. The existing lighting was pretty sufficient, so I was pretty satisfied with that.
This community, like almost any community, will have its own bylaws or ordinances depending
Exactly.
on the city. Lunenburg has a bylaw on lighting too.
Okay,
So any lighting that you propose putting up, you should run that by the building commissioner.
got it. I will.
Right.
Okay,
Make sure it is in accordance with our bylaw.
good to know exactly. Yeah.
Okay, what about detailing your cars? I mean, used cars, generally, you've got to detail them a lot. And do you have any, I don't think there's any garage or anything available to you if you're in the middle section. So how would you be doing your detailing?
Basically, the detail guy is right next to my mechanic, which is right behind Honeyland Farm, that convenience store.
Okay.
So it's going to be detailed there. Worst case, if you just have to wipe off the dust, that'll be it. But as
So
far as
all your work will be done off-site?
yeah. And in worst case, if sometimes cars gets real messy, there's place behind where I saw the fun stuff guys cleaning up, washing their trucks. I can bring it, just hose it down and bring it up forward. So there is place in the back where you can do that as well.
Okay.
But all major detailing, because like the inside, the out, the polishing, everything will be done off-site at that place and then just brought here.
So all detailing and repairs off-site.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jim?
You mentioned that this may have to go before the planning board? Is that
It's required
required for
by
that?
our bylaw.
So,
I've spoken with Adam about that. This is, and that's why we notified you that it would be necessary.
so in the review of that, it would have to be reviewed by the fire to make sure that there's appropriate access on that area of the building for parking, and that's included in with that.
No, that's not included with this. This is a development plan review. All uses in all districts requiring a special permit
Oh, okay.
need to go to the planning board for a development plan review. Now, for my understanding from talking to Adam, is that this would be a pretty
Limited.
limited development plan review, but it has to go before the planning board for that reason.
I believe that's all the questions that I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
think that some of these things have already been touched on, but you provided us this drawing.
Yes, I did.
And it seems to me, do you have that there that you can refer to?
Yeah, I have a copy, yeah. What it was, when I was making the copies, I just made the copies and gave it to Lisa. I thought they were just gonna stay with me, but She had it, but I mean, I can get a copy later on, yeah. But I do, yeah,
Well, you'd already commented from when you were speaking back, filling Al in on his questions, the setback
yeah,
was different at this corner from over there because of the curve of the road.
exactly.
The condition that I visualize being in here is going to be that minimum
minimum 20 feet.
20-foot setback, yeah. Over here in the legend, you had indicated, I think you'd reversed these as display vehicle parking. Here?
This would be like if some customer wants to come, remember I was, needs to park the car, that would be for them, if they need to. If someone comes in, they will park the car on the side.
So the display cars are out here, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So this is reversed from what you meant then?
Then yeah, it might have been something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, because
okay.
the crisscross is the one for if any customer comes in, they can park their vehicle.
Right, they'd be next to the building, but the display would be closest to the road.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to be the minimum 20 feet
Yeah, I'll make sure
setback.
that's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I-
There's only
may I
gonna be one
comment
row of
on that?
cars, so I can,
May I comment on that? Just a question, listening to what you're saying in this right here. If I put this together and I say it's like 50 to 60 feet,
yes,
you got 20 feet from the road, your length of a car is about 16 feet, is 36. You got another car parked right behind that car, so that's another 16 feet, that's 52. How are these people gonna back or come into this and, you know, back out of this parking space?
got it.
Just no, in this diagram, there would be no room.
Yeah, and that is, I mean, that's a correct observation, but like the people next door, the furniture place, they have spots there, and I asked them if anytime a customer comes in, they said they're more than welcome to park, because they said they're pretty, I won't say, they have a select clientele as well, and they said, you know, normally it is vacant all the time. So I tend to have the cars parked there, that way there will be no way interfering with them.
So
And again,
yeah.
I'll have very limited customers coming in, 1 or 2 a week.
I agree, but hopefully you're gonna have a lot of customers.
I want that too.
You're gonna
I
be
want
selling
that
a
too.
lot of cars a month. So this really is going to move.
Exactly, yeah.
This really is just so out of scale that you really can't.
Yeah, you really can, yeah, I mean, I'll admit that, I mean, I've never been involved in any kind of, like, you know, where you have to design stuff, but I mean, that was just more of based on observation, but that is true, according to that would be in the way, but we'll be parking cars on the side, customer cars.
Okay.
Okay. Don, you have something
A
else?
few things. And it's difficult that we are in a position that you require a supermajority. That means every one of us has got to say yes. I'm not in that position as of this moment. And now maybe my hard of hearing took over when we clarified the difference between the owner of the property saying with specificity, lot 6 is where the cars are going, and then the details with specificity say lot 10. So I don't know, that bothers me. If the owner, the person who releases it to you, says with specificity it's 6, then the document's incomplete. And I would suggest that we entertain continuing to clarify everything that needs to be clarified. The other thing is that with cars, used, you know, car lots that we do in the past, what we do is we take, and we've been very important, that the setback, the cars, the dimensions, by dimensions, lay out exactly where those cars will go. And if I look at this, I'm hard pressed, and I don't know if the distance from 18 to 24 feet from Mass Avenue is the center line of Mass Avenue, or is it the curb of Mass Avenue, or is it the property? See, that's not clear to me. So the layout of the cars to what you propose is not clear, to where they're going to be, with specificity is not clear whether it's Lot 6 or Lot 10. And I think that, from my perspective, that if we withdrew, continued on, then you clear up the paperwork and come back. The other one that bothers me, and I lean on Ray, is that we fundamentally don't allow two businesses on a single lot. And I said this earlier. And then what happens is that unless has a direct relationship to the primary business, and then we allow it. This lot down here in this corner, I would be first to say that there's a lot of different lots around. There's a lot 6, 5, 4, and so forth. And if someone were to come up and say, you can put anything you want on any of those property because the whole thing is grandfathered, and then if we can survive that, then I'll go along with it. So I think I said my piece, and I don't know where I want to go. I don't want to vote no.
If I can,
If we can possibly get around my concerns.
Well-
But if you think my concerns are not to be concerned, tell me.
I will just say, as far as the setback, we can put a condition,
condition.
20-foot setback, period. So we know he's going to have to set back. I will agree with you that the reason that I keep bringing up and asking questions is because this doesn't make sense.
We've always required that.
Where he has the cars and the building, the layout is not correct.
It's not to scale, yeah.
Correct, it's not to scale. So it is confusing when you look at it that way. You can condition it to say the setback, you can condition the area. The 6 and the 10, I have to admit, I don't know why the landlord put the exact address of 6 Mass
The
Ave.
document is out of order.
Well, his notice of it,
Yeah,
there is no
yeah.
6 Mass.
Right,
Ave.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the
that's
reality
a
is,
document that we're going to put into the records that Lot
But
6
that's
is
not
listed
really-
here.
that's
This is
not a legal document.
This is permission.
No, this total document, that'll become a part of it that we approve. And if within it, the basis of it is an irregularity, in other words, that letter, the authorization, should be changed, in my opinion. If you think it shouldn't, say, then fine.
no, I don't disagree, but,
if I can add, what he told me that since the whole plat is 10, and then for his own thing, he has divided them into like.
he's divided it because he's getting separate rents from 3.
Exactly.
That's almost like not two businesses on a lot. It's almost to me like a mini mall. There are 3 separate buildings, that could be 3 separate stores in that building.
Well, in
That's
this
the way
case-
it's always been petitioned. There used to be a wood stove store in there. There was another store, I forget what it was, and then there's the furniture store. There's been different stores in and out of that building. And the fun stuff used to be
Yeah.
different stores, there's paint store, different stores as well.
That's
So,
why this is a better representation of that. This whole thing is, what is it, 10
Number
Mass?
10.
10 Mass Ave. That includes these 2 buildings. Actually, there's a little shed out back, isn't it?
That's not
But it
part
does-
of the document, that's your documentation to prepare.
No, this comes off the town website,
No, I understand, but it isn't from the applicant.
right. But this gives you that's why I was confused with that originally, because that representation is for this long building.
That's
And it's
right.
not to scale.
And there's no relationship, and there's
Yeah.
no dimensions, nothing. I truly think that if we went back and did some homework on this, brought it back, cleaned it up, make clarifications of that letter, that the person has to rewrite the letter and to make it, because that's the only authorization we have for giving it. It says, I authorize this guy to put a business here. Well, he doesn't authorize it if he doesn't. If it says it's lot 6, it's lot 10, I'm sorry.
I guess
we
the
gotta
only thing
clean
that
that up.
Lance was trying to do was trying to specify that is, you're talking about this office unit or this space. I mean, actually, he was the one who told me that
So-
all of this is 10 Mass Ave.
He told you that all of this is 10, which
Yeah,
makes sense,
yeah,
because it is.
Exactly. So,
And then you would have 5 people sitting on the board, which might be to your favor.
Okay, so to collect his, or have rents, and you have apartment 6.
yeah,
They have apartment 8.
and then mail and those
Apartment
stuff, when
10.
the mail comes in, they could say that, okay, because otherwise, all the mail will be coming to one guy, and he'll be coming out giving it to everybody. So that's why he did it, but he told me that, yeah.
I can understand what it is.
So in his best interest, then it would behoove him or be wise to get a reclarification from the owner of the property and to have a better diagram, more specific of the exact footage for where the display of the cars will be relative to the building, the number of feet from the building.
Yeah. I mean,
So do you understand?
I
what-
could add, yeah, I completely understand. I'm at this, where the landlord is at this point where he is saying it's just taking too long. I'm eager to start business, to start earning income. It's, and again, I'm new here.
yeah.
So whenever you're new here, you're very apprehensive. You don't want to say something or, But at this point, it's like, if it pushes on further, then he will lease it to someone else, and I'll have to start from scratch. And honestly, I have a family, and I need to start making. I know I can earn. I've been doing this about 8 years. I'm good at it. But as far as I would agree what you were saying, that it has to be back 20 feet. That is not a problem. It'll always be within those guidelines. Because I was there yesterday, and I'm sure you have as well. You've lived here. Very open space. It's not like cramped up, and I'm only asking 8 cars.
Yeah.
So, again, you're the better judge of it, but in my opinion, I'm to the point, I can just lose the whole thing, because he's saying that I just have other people, I might lease it to them,
Well-
it's just taking forever.
Ray, yeah, I'd like to ask you a question, because you seem to have a good handle on it, and you may be very correct, and I may be muddying the water too much.
Well, let me ask,
That particular lot, because of, and I said, there's so many things, and that it's kind of like grandfather. Do you support that? I think you do, and maybe you all do. And maybe I should look at it different respect to this particular piece of property. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'll make 2 points to answer your question directed to me, is that I don't see anything wrong with having multiple businesses at that location. Because, that's kind of like a strip mall.
Right.
In a sense, as far as I know, there's always been 3 different operations in that long building, plus the one over here, where the fun stuff is now.
right, there used to be a wallpaper plates
And
and
then, in addition to that, there used to be a used car lot at that corner.
Yeah.
right.
So, I guess that answers the question about grandfathering. Yes, it's been there.
Yeah,
It's
Grace,
been
I'm
within
willing
the
to
last-
yield on that, in that
Well, I was
position.
going to say, one of the other things we could do, which I'll ask the chair, we could also condition that, say we, and I'm not saying we will, but say we approved it, you could always well make one of the conditions on that the landlord himself correct the number
Yeah.
6 location
Yeah.
to number 10, to, and have it based on that condition being met.
I'm willing to yield, like I say, I yield. And on that point, the other 2 are troublesome, and one of them troubled you and others that troubled, so are we in a position to say, let's clean the act up and move on, or what?
Let me add that I was confused by this seemingly emphasis on making that 6 Mass Ave. But I think the answer is what Al said, is that he's trying to identify one of these businesses from the other, which makes sense, because I
I
can
can get that
understand why...
corrected from him.
But because I went to look on the public records, the assessor's records, there is no 6 Mass Ave. It's all 10.
Number 10.
Okay,
And
make
that's, and the
it,
field card
You can-
is for 10 Mass Ave. He calls it for his own purposes 6, but it's not,
Correct, that's true.
the deed is to 10 Mass Ave. So,
You could make approval contingent upon clarification of letter rather than to continue.
Exactly, and that
I
can
think
be
that's a
done.
good point. Yeah.
You say, clean it up, but you don't have it until it's cleaned up.
Right.
Fair enough.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And the same thing, you condition all detailing and repairs done off-site. You
Right.
Condition the hours as you've discussed. What you suggested is Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday, 9 to 6, Sunday by appointment only. Display only of no more than 8 vehicles.
Right.
And must meet the criteria of the planning board.
Well, that's not even
that's a given.
condition. In order to get his license, he has to go to do that,
Yeah.
because that's the
Okay.
next step.
Yeah,
And you're aware of that, right?
yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although that would put but I'm just giving put me further down, because I think the next meeting is on the 8th, I believe, yeah, 8th of July, 13th of July, sorry. So,
For the planning board?
planning board, yeah,
Yeah,
but I'll have
okay.
everything ready for that, so we can proceed with it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make,
You ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant the special permit with the conditions as we've discussed.
Did you outline those conditions?
All right, if I miss any, tell me, because I didn't jot everything down. Hours of operation, 9 AM to 6, Monday through Saturday, Sunday by appointment only. The lighting, you will check in with the building inspector if you change. Detailing and repairs will be done off-site. There will be no more than 8 vehicles for sale. You will maintain the 20-foot setback from the road.
Yep.
One of the conditions will be that the landlord will correct the exact address of 6 Mass Ave on the applicant, on his letter to 10 to correct that. And were there any others I'm missing?
I think that's all I had to.
Does that satisfy you?
Pardon?
Is that, did he name all of the conditions?
Now, I'm just seeing which one slipped through. Are you satisfied with the layout of the cars and so forth and the conditions relative to it?
I think that the conditions have limited it to
Are you
satisfy.
satisfied?
Yeah.
I think we,
You're satisfied that I'm caving in.
okay. By doing the setback, we're actually limiting him to an area. You actually have parking spaces.
You just gotta have the things put in right. In other words,
Yeah.
we can't just ship it off to the planning board with a bunch of crap that they have to
This is
understand.
nothing that the planning board has to approve. They have their own
Yeah, but the
development
layout-
plan review that
But the
they
layout of
wanna
the
go
cars
through.
and the setbacks and so forth.
So, that's all conditioned in this motion. From our perspective, that's what we're approving.
Yeah, ours should, no, it did have teeth. Okay,
I
go ahead.
think this has teeth. This is...
I'm not making the
specific.
motion, someone else makes the motion.
I made the
He
motion.
made the motion. All I need is a second.
I'll second.
You seconded. Favor?
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Elected.
Aye.
It wasn't gonna be easy.
Appreciate it.
I'm also going to make these part of the,
Yes, that's why I made
Records.
those extra copies.
Yeah, this is in the circular file.
Had a question, should I ask landlord
Unless you
to
need
write
those.
up a new letter or make a correction on the old one?
For your own benefit,
Yeah.
you should get one that's correct.
correct.
Scale.
Yeah,
Got it. I
right.
know
The building, the building commissioner is the zoning official.
Okay,
If those conditions aren't met, you can withdraw the special permit,
got it, yeah.
okay?
And as for the letter that has 6 mass, should he just correct that one or change it to 10 mass or have him
I
write
think
it?
he should correct, yeah, it should be the 10 Mass Ave. Whether he
Exactly.
writes a new letter,
And
I
I'll
think he should write a new,
Okay. I just haven't write a new letter.
Are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
No, not yet, because I need to
Got some
give
reading.
him some information, if I can put my hands back on it. Bear with me a moment.
biggest problem with that hard boat, takes you 2.5 years before you can come back.
Oh, okay. Wow, all right,
Unless it's something was significantly different.
got it.
Now, these, I need to read you these things. These are additional requirements. A special permit is granted with the contingency that the petitioner comply with all licenses, regulations, statutes, and ordinances of any and all applicable local, state, and federal boards of agencies with jurisdiction over the premises. The granting of a special permit shall inure to the benefit of the applicant and shall cease in the event the business is sold or sublet to another party.
Got it.
Special permit is subject to a periodic review by the permit granting authority or the enforcement officer to ensure the compliance with the enumerated conditions that we've just itemized there. Non-compliance to those conditions may result in a revocation of the permit. Copy of the board's decision shall be filed with the town clerk within 14 days. Any party aggrieved by the board's decision may appeal to Superior Court within 20 days after the decision is filed with the town clerk. No special permit shall take effect until a copy of the decision bearing the certification of the town clerk that 20 days has elapsed is recorded with the Registry of Deeds. So you should record this.
Could you repeat the last part? I didn't understand the,
You need to record this special permit granting with the registry, at the Registry of Deeds.
okay, got it.
But you won't be able to do that until it gets stamped by the town clerk, and that can't occur until after the 20 days that it might be appealed to Superior Court by anybody.
Okay, got it.
And this special permit will lapse within 2 years unless substantial use or construction is commenced.
Understood, yeah.
Okay?
The only thing that we've got to throw in there is that this is approved conditioned upon achieving certain objectives. So that kickoff date that we just said doesn't start until you've done your homework.
Got it, yeah.
So it's important you do your homework, because if you don't, you don't have the approval.
Understood, yeah.
Okay. And is there a time frame we put on that? We don't normally, do we? He's got to do certain things before it's approved.
Right, to get, yes.
Yeah.
Do we,
That's,
is that a couple of weeks we get him to do it? What do we do?
well, Mike's not gonna
He's not going to issue any permit till he gets it.
permits till you get it, so.
So if I reiterate, basically, the main thing that we need is a correction on the letter.
Yeah, all the other things you're gonna comply with as you hopefully
Exactly.
set out.
I'll have that for you Monday, and
Yes, and
A
you,
letter from you saying
Should be
you're
back.
meeting the requirements
Should be back on
outstanding
Monday.
necessary to get the approval. Here are the documents. So,
basically I was
Yeah,
talking about the
Monday,
letter from the landlord with the correct address.
yeah, you'd have to get
Yeah.
his clean up that act, whatever that means.
I mean, he might just wanna put in there, you know, that the whole lot is 10 Mass Ave, and he refers the section as any way he wants to put it, but as long as it's clear.
Got it, got it.
Either that or he produces a document, official document with that address, because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. That's true, that's true.
Motion to adjourn? Yeah?
You're making that motion, are you?
Yeah.
Is that seconded?
Seconded.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
We wish you good luck with your car lot.
Thank you,
Hope you're successful.
appreciate it.
Okay.